Alright. Hey, everybody. I did a live stream last night and was trying to figure this out and overcomplicated it, blah, 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 whatever. I figured it out. It can be done a little bit better, but here's what I've got. 4 different platforms, 4 different power-ups. It may repeat the same power-ups in the same location every once in a while. Because it's random, there is a chance of that. It's a 1 in 24 chance that they're in the same location they were the previous time. But you will not have any duplicates on any of these. And of course, these platforms can be moved and the power-ups can be moved. But it is random every time. And it's a lot better looking than the crap I was trying to do last night. So there's that. I'll speed it up. A 1-second delay. There we go. Get away from that sound a little bit. It'll get annoying. But there it is. It's random every time. As you can see, there is a slight delay between each spawn. If they're separated a little bit, it's not going to make that much of a difference. But it can be optimized to where the delay between spawns is negligible. But I wired some stuff up and had to put some delays because they were hooked up after a thing that needed to happen after that thing, whatever. So anyways, there it is. That's what it looks like. All I have here, this is one-time use. I'll demo again at the end of this. But this was to begin. This is to set the delay between spawns to 5 seconds and this one to 1 second. So I'm going here and show you what I got, and of course you can look at the live stream stuff from last night and watch me really struggle to do something that should not have been so difficult. But I forget what I titled last night's stream, but it should have 23 April 2017 in the title. It's like a 3-hour long video, but here it is. I'm going to move... Well, no, I won't. This is what I ended up with last night that I was not happy with because there are only 4 possibilities, which really isn't that big of a deal, but it's not what I wanted to do. So there is this. If you want to look at that, you can. I mean, right here, if you can grasp what's going on there just from this, just from looking at it there, well then there you go, you're free to use that. But for truly random every time, this is what I've got. So get right into it here. I'm using this as the initializer. So not the initial, the only initializer to begin, and you can do on map start, whatever. On used, I'm starting this repeater. We've got 4 different locations that we're working with, so this repeater is set to repeat 4 times. There's a 0.2 second delay between repeats. That is because of what I mentioned just a moment ago with things being hooked up in the wrong order. I could disconnect everything and reconnect, but as you can see, it's really not that big of a deal, especially if you space them out or have them scattered out throughout the map. Especially if they only respawn like every minute or so, you're not really going to be able to tell. But I'm afraid if I put that down at 0.1 that it's gonna, you might get some duplicates in there, because it might be a little weird because of the timing between setting a random number and actually producing a result based on that number, because they're in separate little groups here. So the logic has to travel around a little bit. So anyways, 4 repeats on signaled. We signal this random relay and the sequencer. So the stuff happening from this random relay has to happen before the sequencer does its stuff. That's why that delay, because I've got a 0.1 delay here, just to make sure this can finish up before it goes here. and that's why there's a 0.2 second delay, so it doesn't end up doing this at the same time this is doing the previous action, and somehow logic gets all screwy in there, which is possible. Anyways, we come to this random relay, signal it. Unique output's true, reset true, of course. Otherwise, I think it essentially would run once. It'll keep trying to do stuff, but it won't be able to find a unique output. I think that's how that works. The order here doesn't really matter, but these are hooked up, index 1, 2, 3, and 4, and set integer. We are using this variable for a switch later on, and switch indexes as well as sequencer indexes start at 1, not 0. So we have set to 1, set to 2, set to 3, and set to 4. Alright, that's all this random relay is doing. We are setting this to a random value. That randomness is determined by this relay, not by a random input. That got way out of hand last night using that random input. So that's how we're doing it here. Alright, and then after that has been given that fraction of a second, it needs to do that. Before the next repeater signal goes and changes that, we come over here to the sequencer, 1 output per signal. I had some issues with that last night as well. Repeat sequence, yep. Shared sequence, probably not going to matter because this is going to be on its own loop, so it doesn't really matter. But I typically have that set to on, unless you're using like a menu function or something specific to individual players. Anyways, here I have index 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the first time the sequencer is signaled, which is right after this is set to its first value, but before the repeater fires again, it will go here and signal this switch, and the switch index will be this random number 1 through 4. Of course, if you have 6 things, then you would need 6 here and 6 here and whatever. Or, well, this here, there's 4 here because we have 4 locations. There's 4 here because we have 4 possibilities per location. So if you wanted, I forget, but I don't have Mega Health in there. If I wanted to add Mega Health on top of this stuff, then I would need a 5th thing here, but still only need 4. So first signal from the sequencer, index for that, and this is actually stacked 1 on bottom, 2, 3, and 4. These have to be identical, otherwise you'll get repeats and duplicates and weird stuff. So these are exact copies of each other, and each index goes to the same object in their corresponding locations. I actually did it, first sequence is here, second here, third here, and fourth here. And we just come over and spawn object. So whatever this is spawning, this is also spawning, this is spawning, this is spawning, but in different locations. And it's the same across each row. But then after that's done, a 1/10 of a second later, in this case, the repeater comes, does this yet again, picks a random one of these, but a unique one, so it won't reuse the same value. And then a 1/10 of a second later, it does this yet again, but on this output, so it determines which one spawns here, and it cannot be what spawned here, because it's a unique number determined here. And then once that's done, it comes back, and the repeater goes again, and does the same thing 4 times. On the 4th sequence, that repeater stops, because it's set to max of 4. So it automatically stops. And this will still signal this and spawn that, but it comes over here and signals this delay. The delay, I have default value set to 5 seconds. Set it to 30 seconds, a minute, 20 seconds, whatever. No delay on that or anything. So after that delay is done on its output, which in this case 5 seconds later, it will delete everything and then start this repeater. I do have this on a 1/10 of a second delay because I hooked up the remove all after the fact, which actually I don't think I need to do because of this delay. So I could remove that and it would be a little bit more seamless between the removal and the respawning. So I'll actually do that just for this final demo, see what it looks like. But that's it. It's a lot simpler than what I was trying to piece together last night. I had an epiphany at some 10 minutes after I ended the stream and actually stepped away from the game and thought about it for a moment. So there we go. Do a final demo. I'll save. Didn't change anything, but yeah, definitely want to make sure you remove everything before you start spawning them again. Well, you could use, you could set this delay like this and use a variable and use that same variable to determine, well, there's not an on spawn, so I guess you can't do that. Never mind. I was going to say you could trigger a remove after a certain amount of seconds, which you still could do, but you might as well just remove all the time. So here we go, final demo. You can take a look at it, and hopefully that was clear enough. This tutorial map's getting kind of full. I'll do very little more with it and then publish it for if anybody wants it for reference. Not quite as, or not populated with as cool of stuff as I normally have in my other tutorial maps, but there's some neat stuff in here. There's that one going on. But anyways, begin this one. It's on that 5-second delay. There we go. There we go, like 3 in a row there. My memory's not, my short-term memory's not good enough to see if they were exactly the same, the first 3 spawns there, but I'll speed it up a little bit and see it's random. You can get the same sequence 100 times in a row. It's just very improbable. But 2 times in a row, 3 times in a row is quite possible. I said it's a 1 in 24 chance that you will get the same thing twice in a row, and then I guess whatever the square of that is, maybe, I don't know, for a 3rd time, and so on and so forth. But there you go. There it is. It works. And go back in here and just if somebody wants a screen grab or something before this gets published. Let's see if I can include everything. And what I did here is I just stacked the 4 different power-ups. These should be named, but I messed with these so many times last night I didn't feel like naming them. But yeah, just stacked them, centered all the same. They're all in the same center location, but rotated. So they're actually, you can pick them all up at once without having to move one at a time to select them. You can select all of them like that. If you had another one, then you'd have to change that angle snap down or manually rotate it or something like that to allow you to pick them all up at once if you needed to move it. But I can just do that, and I can throw this anywhere in the map, and it's all attached to the same logic. So the chains might get a little ugly if you do it that way, but yeah. So there you go. I'll see if I can capture everything for a screen grab if somebody wants it. It doesn't look like I'm going to be real successful with that. But there you go. There it is. And I guess that'll be it. Thanks for watching. Hope you get some use out of this. Hope you enjoyed. Like if you liked, dislike if you didn't, subscribe if you haven't already. Send me requests. Watch me when I stream sporadically sometimes. And thanks to everyone who does watch pretty regularly. I appreciate it. And yep, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.